Today's gospel presents us with the challenging event of an exorcism. While in the synagogue in Capernaum, Jesus encounters a man possessed with an unclean spirit. Mark once again ushers us into an event in the most unlikely of places, in Capernaum, in a synagogue, where a man with an unclean spirit addresses Jesus, saying, "I know who you are, the Holy One of God." Jesus says that he should be silent. Jesus sets him free. The event in Mark's gospel is the first public act of Jesus' ministry. This lesson offers a challenge in our day when opposing sides are quick to label one another unclean, even demonic. What can such a lesson teach us in our 21st century world? Well, while working on my master's degree, our Old Testament professor, Dr. Howard Irvin, told us a story about an event that occurred on his first trip to Israel. He was on a bus and they had stopped. He got off the bus and he heard this loud, distressing bleating of sheep. And they just seemed to get louder and louder. Dr. Irvin said he finally asked the tour guide, "This is not my idea of sheep, quiet, peaceful sheep. What in the world is going on?" So the tour guide looked over to see. He heard the sheep, of course, but he looked over to see and recognized right away, turned to Dr. Irvin and said this, "Oh, sir, the man leading these sheep is not the owner. The man behind the sheep, pushing them, hitting them, that's the butcher. The butcher drives the sheep," he said. "The shepherd leads the sheep." That story comes back to me as I think about this passage, this man in this synagogue in Capernaum. You see, there is an aspect of exorcism that can be very insightful in our current journey, because this man, this one who needed God, came to the synagogue, came to the right place. Broken, so broken that his words were even not his own. So broken by life-altering realities, in chains that were not visible, bound though appearing to be free. This man came to be heard. And instead of this mockery, "You're the Holy One of Israel," Jesus heard his heart. Yeah, the man came to the right place, the synagogue, the place of prayer, the place where God was the topic of conversation. Little did he realize he came on that Sabbath day And perhaps the scriptures don't indicate, perhaps this wasn't even his first visit, but on this day, he came into that synagogue, and instead of disrupting, he instead found just what he was looking for, just what he needed: deliverance. So I think about our time now. I think about questions like, who's showing up in your Zoom room when you're worshiping? Who's there? Who perhaps you cannot see or know? Who is looking for God? Who needs a touch? Who needs a reminder that Jesus will look beyond the wounds, the scars, and hear the heart, and even set that heart free? People need this reminder that the broken can find wholeness, that the isolated can be given love. Transformative love, love that will not let you go. I encourage you to consider that our gathering and worship can actually be an avenue through which the broken find hope. The confused remember that they are not alone. Those in despair and needing direction, needing a sense of belonging, can they not come to the place where God is the topic of conversation? Jesus again heard beyond the man's words. He knew the words were not to be his focus. Jesus focused on the heart. So overwhelmed was this man, he probably lacked the words to articulate his pain. So I want to ask you in this time, this challenging time, this life-altering time, how is your heart? How are you doing? If you were to encounter Jesus today, what would be the cry of your heart? Is there a part of you that really knows that just as I am means just as I am? Come as you are. Remember, it is the shepherd that leads the sheep. It is the butcher that drives the sheep. Jesus is the light of the world. There is no better shepherd to follow. And following Jesus means goodness and mercy shall follow you. So here we are discussing an exorcism in the 21st century, and yet finding grace, a message of grace, an assurance that the God who made the universe cares so much about you that a stop in Capernaum, in your Zoom room, is not too much to ask. Because, beloved, we cannot be loved any more than we are. by a true God who cares more than you ever dreamed possible. Thanks be to God.